Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 562. I'm Bryan Cohen from Best Page Forward, joined by the creator of decadent romance, of subscription book boxes, of many social media posts, Willow Winters. How are you today, Willow?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me again.
Of
Like this
course.
fills my cup up, so I'm happy to be here.
Yay. Oh, good. Same here. Absolutely. Last week, you asked the question, the great question of the week, which is, what are indie authors missing? You said you had an answer, but I wanted to hold off, give people a reason to listen to the next episode.
Yeah.
What is your answer to what you think indie authors are missing?
Special editions in bookstores, the ease of it. And I know that Ingram Sparks, I've asked them, and I know that it's on their radar. I know that traditional publishers have often done deals for new works that will include it, and sometimes they'll tack on back catalog. But what we're really missing is that traditional publisher deal for their own special editions of your work, but you get to keep your IP that you currently have. So they just have a line of special editions because the ROI is there. That profit margin is the highest profit margin. They're able to make it the cheapest, the easiest. They have the contracts to get into bookstores. There's no reason that they shouldn't be offering deals and eating up special editions, like saying, you have this line, you keep everything you have, just give me the right to create special editions of your books, and we both make money.
Yeah, I do know one author who just had a deal with this, with Source Books, and that seems to be going really well. They're very happy with him because they sold a bunch of books over the holidays, and maybe like that sort of thing will allow that to come to place. Do you worry at all, to play devil's advocate? Do you worry at all that the authors would like now not be able to do their Kickstarters because they have the rights of a certain book that has to be special editioned through this trad pub
contract, right? Everything is in contract.
Right.
But 4 years ago, when I first did my Kickstarter, I walked into a Barnes & Noble and there was a special edition of, I think it was Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It was one of like 3 books that had sprayed edges in the entire Barnes & Noble 4 years ago. And I said, I want my book to look like this. I want this to be pretty. How can I do this? I can't afford to do this. Red, White, and Blue came out with a special edition a year or two later. And it was like $32 for this special edition with custom art, foiling, embossed. It was gorgeous, a dust jacket, all the things. And I said, I can't even produce this for $32. How am I going to be able to compete with this, right?
Yeah.
But I listed my books for what they cost on Kickstarter. And I had success after success after success, right? Now you walk into a Barnes & Noble and you are hit with special editions and sprayed edges and all sorts of things the moment that you walk in on every single table in all sorts of genres.
Yeah.
Right? So the competition's already there and the Kickstarters are still happening and they're still succeeding. It's just a matter of price point and knowing the value that your book has, which is not necessarily the retail value. There's a thing called shelf wealth. Have you heard of it?
Oh, I have not.
It's in real estate. And if you can't sell a high-end home, put a bookshelf with special editions in it and it will sell. That is the value of a special edition. It can sell multi-million-dollar homes. That is happening in real time. So just because there's more competition and just because yours might need to be more expensive, it doesn't mean that it devalues anything. It just simply is what it is.
It makes me wonder, is there a way that a newer author who hasn't built up a platform yet, but is maybe trying things, how can they apply the concept of shelf wealth, not to selling a home, but to selling their books? Is it just having special editions? Is it some kind of special perk that they can give that other people maybe haven't tried yet? Like, what do you think would be a way to bring shelf wealth into the indie author world?
So I think it has to do with social media, right? Having your shelf behind. There are so many authors who don't even show their face, right? But they have their hand in their book. And if in the background you have this shelf wealth, right? You have these gorgeous renditions. I even do this and I show my face all the time. I do all sorts of things on social media, but I like my shelf to look pretty. And when I have a sale going on today, I have free books. Sophie said, "Can you take these photos for me?" They're taken in front of this pretty bookshelf because it adds value to the book. That book is worthy of being on that shelf, right? So undoubtedly, you can use shelf wealth to help your brand create that value to your brand 100%.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you. And it was fun teasing everybody for a week on that one. To remind everyone, go check out Willow Winters stuff at willowwinterswrites.com. I'm like thinking, when does this episode come out? Today is a webinar called 3 Ways to Scale Your Book Sales. It's today and Friday are 2 sessions of the same one. Go check it out. I'm really, really excited to share this info with everyone. So previous week, there was a question, which is, what do you think your expectation is? What is your expectation for how you think 2025 is going to go for you? What do you believe is going to happen? Lars answered, Lars Hedbor, and said, I believe I'm going to successfully plan, schedule, and fund a national book tour for 2025, visiting the settings for each of my Revolutionary War novels for the semi-quincentennial, the 250 years since declaring independence, and some other great stuff here, including a ruthless willingness to stop doing things that aren't working, which I love. Willow, what is your expectation for your 2025?
I'm going to hug a lot of readers because I'll be traveling the world. I'll be in Vancouver, Melbourne, and London with my husband, and we're making each of those into a little vacation. I'm going to have more ease in 2025 as I will only have 1 book on pre-order, and it will already be written. Yes, and I am going to get ahead on writing. I already have 2 books in the hole, which has never happened to me before. I will have the special edition of a book in my hand before I announce the book. Never before in my life has that happened. And other things I can't say out loud.
That's okay. That's okay.
Lots
secrets.
Of fun
secrets.
Yes,
lots of fun secrets.
Ease. And just fun in the sun and traveling and hugging readers and living my best life. That is my plan for 2020.
I love it.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. Y'all remember, you can always answer the question of the week. Sell More Book Show After Party group. Let us go into the top story, which may be related to you being 2 books deep right now. How to grow your author business without losing your mind. So today's authors are doing more than writing. They're running a business, says Written Word Media founder Farrell Vernon. And he says most successful businesses run on systems. So as he mentioned, systems reduce decision fatigue, giving you back the energy you need to write. They streamline daily operations and repeated tasks. They keep you consistent so that you can keep to your schedule, and they reduce the number of mistakes that can derail your author business. Vernon's favorite systems framework for authors is the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS, which has long been used by small businesses and startups. Quote, EOS principles apply perfectly to authors who are serious about their craft and vision, says Vernon. Its 4 pillars are perfect for helping authors to clarify vision so you know where you're headed. You can set and track achievable goals and quickly solve any problems that come up along the way. Quote, systems aren't about stifling creativity. They're about clearing the clutter, so creativity has room to stretch out, Vernon says. EOS poses a few questions. What's not working? For instance, I keep missing my word count goals. Why is this happening? I'm spending too much time on social media, unless you're Willow. And what can you do to fix it? Set a timer for writing and limit social media to 30 minutes a day. The system allows you to quickly identify the problem and implement the solution so you can get back to making progress. Quote, systems don't just make your author business more efficient, they make it focused, fun, and successful.
Agreed. And I have a system where my baby comes in every few minutes to just say hello.
Aww.
And then along with the dog, and then my husband takes him to go play.
Yay. I like this system.
I'll be right there, sweetie. So if you heard a little mommy in the background, it was from my little Cody. But I love everything that you just said and that Written Word Media, the founder, just said, because 8 years ago, I started writing, and within a year, my husband was able to quit. And he was
That's
able to
amazing.
join me. He was afraid, though. 8 years ago, he said that this was his one question that he asked. He said, "Do you think you're going to run out of ideas?"
Mm.
That's what he was
He
afraid.
should have known you're high strategic, high futuristic. You don't run out of ideas.
I hadn't taken the test yet, so
Okay, that's
yeah.
true. That's fair.
Um,
Fair.
But then that following year, I had hired an assistant.
Yeah.
The next year, my assistant hired an assistant. And
Mm-hmm.
as I call them not systems, but I call them wheels, right? Like cogs. And as these
Yeah.
cogs go and I create these cogs, I find other people who can make sure these cogs are running to keep this business going. And a lot of this is a little bit more difficult for me because I started doing things before there was infrastructure in the industry to do them. But I have so many cogs and so many wheels right now that I have over a dozen people who are employed full time or as a contractor, right?
Right.
But this is their livelihood. And when I retire, I'm going to retire everybody. That's the business plan.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. That's
So
like the whole like have a vision that's big enough to fit everybody else's visions underneath it. I love that.
Yeah. And then we can all just retire and go to Boca or the Bahamas or whatever we want to do and live our best life because we created this business to deliver happily ever afters to everybody who wanted them. So I think that's my fairy tale, and my fairy tale needs those systems that he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this year I hired an assistant for my assistant, and it made a huge difference. And a lot of it was like having a good assistant, I've had plenty of good assistants. Having a great assistant and then having a great assistant to the assistant has made huge, huge, huge differences.
I hate having to let people go. It's
Me
the
too.
worst thing in
Me
the
too.
world. I hate that feeling. Thankfully, it doesn't happen often, but I also hire family and friends.
Yeah.
Extra awful.
Yeah. I know plenty of people who do the family and friends angle, and look, if it works for them, I know they all do. They all do.
But, yeah.
So we kind of already answered what systems you have in place because you have your wheels, you have your amazing people.
Dogs, I do.
So you can ask me your question if you'd like.
Yes. So do you use regular checks and balances to help you stay on track?
So my checks and balances are my people tell me when I haven't done something yet, and then I do it.
Yeah.
Because
every day Sophie tells me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if there's something that I have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only way it's going to get done. Like I have a system for how I put things into my calendar, but in these times when we're like coming back from a vacation or whatnot, some stuff kind of can get dropped. So I have people just saying like, if you haven't done a thing by this day, I'm going to message you. And it's like, perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And we have checks and balances all the time. I have team meetings that I should do more often. I meet with an accountant and a financial or a business strategist monthly. I meet with a financial advisor seasonally. Like I'm constantly meeting with people to make sure everything is on track. And the accountant, like meeting monthly is so important with so much cash flow moving so consistently and with how many ideas that I have and business growth. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of meetings.
Yeah. I'm in meetings all day. I think after this podcast, I'm in like 5 consecutive meetings. So
oh my goodness.
It's every day. It's every day.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It does feel a little Hunger Gamesy. So Willow, we need another lightning sound for a lightning round. You can try to replicate it or just go wherever your heart takes you.
This is awful. That was just a cough.
Ooh, I liked it. It had the little start. Like it had the little, and then right down on your head. Oh my goodness.
Different from the other one.
I know, it was good. Good variety.
Directly. That was like a Zeus lightning bolt.
Yeah, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. So many authors are afraid to make their first or second hire, as we kind of just discussed the first hire, the second hire. You already discussed how you got an assistant and an assistant for your assistant. How did your team grow from there? And how'd you get over the fear of like, oh my gosh, I control other people in my life?
Right. So, well, I always say they control themselves. Like, right. Like
Right.
I'm just a partner
Right.
for everybody. And it's just, if there's something, when I hire somebody, I always say, this is what needs to be done. Do you want to do it? And then when they're on board, I say, okay, I need you to do this. These are this, and this. If you don't like it, I need you to tell me. If you want to give this to somebody else, like one thing in the team meetings is assigning things to people who want them.
Yes.
And if nobody wants a certain item, then I say, do you know somebody, I'm so sorry. Then I say, do you know somebody who might want it? And that's how I'm introduced to other people. But I don't bring somebody on until they've done one task, right?
Yeah.
Or task a few times, right? And it's all contractors for me. So I can do a small thing with somebody, see how it works, see if I like it. It's going to be to completion. Contract will be fulfilled. If it's a good thing and a good match, I just keep doing it and allow it to grow organically.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a good match, we got the thing that we set out to do, and it was more than likely like a good thing. It's just not something that was scalable.
Right. Yeah. I have all contractors too. So all of this very much resonates with me. Keep them temporary until, they get some good stuff done. All right. You've got a question for me.
I do. So is there ever a time that it's too early to hire the first person in your business?
I think what scares people is them thinking about hiring a person. They think, oh, I'm locked into this person for life. Because I do not think it's ever too early. I think every person I've ever spoken with who's hired anybody in their author business said, I wish I had done this earlier.
100%.
Every single person.
I agree with you. I wish I was afraid because I thought I don't have the time to teach someone how to do it. Right. The truth is you don't have the time to not have somebody doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot possibly do everything. Like we started this podcast you're talking about from Written Word Media, where he said, you're running a business.
Yeah.
This is not a one-person business. You can't be the author, the publisher, the editor, the cover designer, the social media manager, the financial manager, the account. You cannot possibly do everything all by yourself if you want to have a scalable business.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So that's what it took me reading Essentialism. That's my
so good.
Tribes was last
so good.
Essentialism this episode. I think that's McCowan. Is that right? The author?
I think so. Yeah. No, I love that book.
I hired a financial consultant who I'm still with. And after our first meeting, he said, I'm sending you a book. I need you to read it. And this was after this is a horror story. After my first year of writing, Sean had quit his job. We sold our house. We bought a house. Then we did taxes. We did not have an LLC. We owed $72,000 in taxes. This was me having a #1 book in Amazon publishing, and the Amazon store, a #1 book constantly. I was releasing once a month. It looked like I was the highest of highs. We were in financial disarray.
Oh, no.
From the outside, it can look one way, but the inside be completely different. So I hired this financial manager, and he was like, I really wish you had hired me 6 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but within a few months, everything was cleaned up. Everything just went up and up and up from there. But he was like, I really need you to read this book.
Yeah.
And I did. And it was life-changing. Many life-changing things have come from that advisor.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a financial advisor, fee only, so they're not connected up with some fund or whatever, like Fidelity or whatever. So yeah, no, they've been extremely helpful. You will be traveling to over a dozen book events in 2025 with more scheduled for 2026. How do you juggle attending these events with your writing schedule and with your general author business tasks?
So they're my reward. I actually see them as fun. They it lights me up. I get to see my friends. I make them I used to go to a signing and I would arrive the night before and I would leave the morning after. And I missed everything.
Yeah.
It was stressful. I wasn't prepared for the signing. I didn't have my little lunch dates and dinner meetings and all of these things with my friends and other people in the industry. So now when I go, I usually leave on a Thursday and I come home on a Monday. So I have plenty of time to enjoy the sights. I plan restaurants I want to go to. I plan like meetings with my friends who I haven't seen in a while, or people who I know but I don't know. So for me, it really is like a vacation. And when I set up my table, I literally just put my books up, try to make it pretty. And the focus is really like seeing my readers.
Yeah.
I really love it. So, and I also really love to ride on a plane.
Oh,
So,
nice. Me
yeah,
too, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like rumble and the fact that you're stuck there and like it's the perfect, I'm short. So the perfect height for me to like sit cross-legged in that little tiny chair with my knees up against the bars, just
Hmm.
writing the whole time. Like I love it. I order the prosecco and I make it a trip. Like it's a full vacation for me every time I travel.
That's epic. I
Yeah.
love it.
And
Um,
systems wise,
yes.
Sophie, when I get there, I don't even know what books are there because Sophie orders them. And I've gotten onto a plane and I don't even know where I'm going. I almost drove to the wrong airport once because my husband books everything, whether or not he goes with me. So
Yeah.
systems in place for that so that I can be like, what do they call it? Passenger princess. I am a
Hmm.
passenger princess on a little tiny vacation to meet my readers. That's what it is.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
It wasn't always, but living,
Right. You have
right?
to
I
build
fell
those
from
over
the
time.
altar of lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got a question for me?
I do. Um, with if you can't travel to events, are there any ways you can replicate the connection with readers without having to hop on a plane?
Now, there's a lot of value in hugging 5,000 readers, which I love that you get to do, Willow. But if there's any reason you can't travel for certain reasons, look, if you have a list of people, you have social media, you
Mhm.
can connect with those readers. You can reach out to them. You can talk to them via email, via message, via a Zoom call. You're still allowed. You are allowed to do anything. And you are, I think I first got this from one of my mentors, Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income, is he just reaches out to 5 random people on his list and schedules a coffee chat with them every month. And it's like, well, that's so brilliant because those readers, especially if they're super fans, are going to remember that forever. They're going to buy all
Mhm.
your books forever, and they're going to love having that story that they can tell.
That is so fun. Like I want to do that too. This year, one thing I am changing is I'm going to make a Q&A in my Patreon once a month. So I can
Nice.
dedicate time to go on there because they're super fans, right? They want to be a part of this. And then I also have a way for them to join for free for 7 days. So like readers who want to be a part of it, but they can't afford to
Yeah,
have that monthly subscription, they can still come in and like enjoy the live Q&A.
I love it.
So that could be another thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, great idea.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Final question of the lightning round with 4 minutes. I'm watching the clock left to go. With over 700,000 TikTok followers, do you feel like there's something special that you bring to the table in your content, or do you feel like it's more about consistency?
We talked about it, or you talked about it in the last episode with showing your life. I think, or
Mm,
giving them the behind the scenes. I forget who it was who was quoted in that started that quote.
yeah.
But I like to show the messy living room filled with boxes. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of authors would die before they showed that. I was in the garage with my husband printing books and I was doing a film and I wanted to get an angle and I forgot about the machinery and it literally flew back and hit my hand and you could hear like the crunch of my
Oh,
hand.
oh
I
no.
was fine. It didn't even bruise.
Yeah.
I was like, I looked at the video and I thought, oh, that's funny. I'll post it. I didn't even have like, I don't even think I had a caption, but I was like, this is just funny. And I'm willing to share things that are imperfect. And I'm
Yeah.
willing to open up a little bit and be more personable. And I think I know with more AI books and fake pen names and such and poor quality books, I think readers are more likely to try you if they know you're a real person and
Yeah.
they can see the person you are, even though a lot of people do tell me, I thought you were going to be goth because they've read my dark romances. And then I'm like, this mom with 3 kids, like having fun in my house with all these flowers. And they're
Yeah.
like, this is not what I thought. So just being a little bit more open though.
Yeah. I love that. I think that being willing to be real generally is just a good idea.
And exactly, it's going to make everything easier for you because you don't have to remember a persona. You don't have to be on your toes or on guard or like you can just be you. And if you can just be you in all ways and as loud as you can be, right? Because your people are out there. It's just a matter of whether or not they can hear you. So just be you as loud as you can. Some people aren't going to like it. That means that they're not your people. And that's more than okay. That's life. That's good. Figure that out because you have to weed through everybody to figure out who your people are.
Love it. Love it. We need a question of the week, Willow. It can be about these systems. It can be about whatever. What do you think?
I literally had such a good one like 2 minutes ago. My question of the week was, oh my gosh. I literally, because when I asked you your question, I remember thinking,
that's okay.
Oh my goodness. No, if you give me, let's have a sip. Let's everybody
have a sip. Have a sip. Take a breath.
Cheers to episode 562.
Ding.
Cheers.
Yes.
And my question of the week is about longevity.
Ooh, I love it. Okay.
How do you make writing books stable as a career and create longevity? Because we often come into the same types of problems that athletes and musicians have, which is where you get the pop of money and then everything changes and what was working doesn't work anymore. So how do you create stability?
Love it. You can answer the question of the week, Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. You gotta go see what Willow Winters is doing on all the socials. You gotta go to willowwinterswrites.com.
Yeah.
You gotta go check it out because you were mentioned so many times when I asked who should I have on the show because you're doing great things and you do it with so much kindness and love, and it is seen. I see you, and a lot of readers see you out there.
Thank you. Love is in the details. So, and I'm so happy to be on, and this filled my cup up. So, thank you.
Awesome. You're so welcome. So we'll be back next week with another wonderful co-host. So for Willow, I'm Bryan. Have a great week of book selling, everybody, and we'll be back for episode 563. Bye.
Bye.